Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Shift with Gina. Here we are to talk about another viral video that is just taking the internet by storm from a single childless woman in her 30s who wants everyone to know that she's single and childless in her 30s. Of course, this one's not going to be a long video. I just wanted to quickly talk about what she's saying here and why it's so relevant to a lot of what's happening today in our culture and the rates of single childless women. But before we get into that, don't forget our amazing sponsor, Childless Skincare, in this beautiful Italian glass container. Childless Skincare is a really great non-toxic beauty brand that has a great line like daily facial cleanser, daily moisturizer, some serums. This is the only skincare brand that I use in the mornings. If I need to apply makeup, I use the daily moisturizer. These are the few products that have they don't have the endocrine disruptors in there. They're not going to make your skin irritated. They're not going to make you break out. The owner takes a lot of care in the ingredients that she uses in here. So if you're a woman who is looking for high quality skincare that's also not packaged in plastics, that's a really important thing, ladies. A lot of these things are packaged in cheap plastics, and then those endocrine disruptors get into your products and into your skin. This is in beautiful Italian glass. I love the packaging and I love the moisturizer particularly. If I have to wear makeup in the morning, this is what I use underneath it. At night, I like to just use beef tallow. But if I do wear makeup during the day, I like the daily facial cleanser to take it all off. So I'm a big fan. I've been using Childless for about 1.5 years now, and it's a huge win too that we get to vote with our dollar and support companies and entrepreneurs that share our values. So if you're a woman listening, you want some great skincare, click the link in the description to sign up and use my code GINA, Gina, for 20% off. That's a great little discount, 20% off. If you're a man listening, get some for your lady. Get some for your mom. Get some for, I don't know, your cousin or your sister as a gift, whatever it is. Okay, let's jump in. Let's watch this video. It's only about 1 minute long, and then we shall discuss. Here we go.
This is what your Saturday looks like as a single in her 30s girl with no children. I woke up at 10:15, hungover, FaceTimed like 6 people. Took my pup on a walk, got some coffee, a little lavender from the new Starbucks spring line. Cleaned myself up, packed a bag because who knows where the day is going to take me. And now I'm walking to my friends to go to Beer Olympics for the afternoon. Then we're going to come back to her place, get changed, get ready to go to country night, do some line dancing to some live music. Brought the pup because, again, who knows where the night's going to take us. Because I have no responsibilities and no dependents besides the pup. So just got to make sure he's good. And then tomorrow we'll wake up, going to go to brunch with some girls. Maybe a bottomless situation, who's to say. And then I think we might play some beach tennis and bop about. Because when you're single and childless, your responsibilities are yourself. And I'm taking great care of myself.
Yeah.
This is what your Saturday.
Okay. These are really popular videos now, right? A lot of women on Instagram and TikTok are talking about how awesome their life is because they're single and childless in their 30s. And it's just so awesome. So awesome. I get to be single and childless in my 30s. And then the other trend of the dinks, dual income, no kids. The dinks trend was really big too. We're dinks. We get to wake up at 11 a.m. if we want to. We're dinks. We get to go to Costco and buy all the snacks. We're dinks. I don't know what else they said, but this is a trend now. And I think that it's easy for people to look at this and be like, oh, this is what happens when you don't have kids. The problem here is not that she doesn't have kids. Okay, it's not a matter of having kids versus not having kids. I don't think that's the correct way to frame this. I don't think that's what's really happening here. The problem is that she has no kids and she's single. And so she is using all of her free time to indulge in the most consumerist, empty, meaningless activities. What is she talking about in this video? She's talking about waking up hungover. So she went drinking. She's getting up and she's buying a Starbucks, a lavender Starbucks. How exciting. I'm going to go buy from a major conglomerate. And then she's going to go do what? Drink some more with friends. And then after that, she's going to go out and dance and drink more with friends. And then she's going to wake up the next morning and, what do you know? Drink more with friends. This is her life. This is what she has chosen to do because she's single and childless, no kids. The problem here is that she doesn't have kids. The problem here is that she has no direction and she has no meaning in her life. And she is just constantly drinking and being a consumer. And that's it. And I think the problem here, the biggest problem with all of these single childless videos or the dink videos, is that our generation has become a generation that lacks any sense of duty to ourselves, duty to our loved ones, duty to our community and to our society. Because what does she say at the very end of this video? She says, because when you're childless, your only responsibility is yourself. This is actually a very new modern concept that when you don't have kids, the only responsibility you have is to yourself. Because that's not true. We have a duty and a responsibility to each other, to our family members, to our community members. Of course, a major problem is that so many people lack a sense of community. We don't have any more high trust communities, and we definitely are lacking strong religious communities. So in the past, with our ancestors, if there was a single childless woman, she would have just as much of a responsibility to her community and her village as anybody else would. So for example, and this is one of the reasons why I don't think this is about having kids versus not having kids. I know people in my communities that don't have kids who are heavily involved in their local communities. They give back. So for example, I can think of my daughter's godparents. They're a young married couple. They just got married last year. They are literally dinks, dual income, no kids. And they are so very involved in their friends' lives, in their families' lives, and in their local community. Like just the other day, they came over here to help us move my daughter's room around because we're moving the new baby into my daughter's nursery and we're creating a new bedroom for my daughter. And so they came to help us move the bed out of there and empty out the room. They're going to help us wallpaper it and paint it and stuff. And the other day also, I needed a little bit of help. I'm writing a book on the obesity crisis and I needed just an hour to do some writing. So my daughter's godmother came over to hang out with my daughter while I got a little bit of writing done. They are heavily involved in the lives of our other friends and other young families, the elderly at church. My daughter's godmother even signed up to do some work with the prison ministry in our church. And I can think of plenty of other couples. I'm thinking of another very high-powered couple right now that can't have kids because they just can't for whatever reason. They run an extremely successful company. They're very involved in the culture of that company. They're very, very involved in their families' lives and their family members' kids. They have a responsibility to one another. They have a responsibility to their family, to their loved ones, to their friends, to their village. This is how human beings lived for all of history until 5 minutes ago. And now you have this new breed of people. So it doesn't matter if you have kids or not. The problem is that we have lost all sense of responsibility to one another. So when I see videos like this, my first thought is not, oh gosh, that's what happens when you don't have kids. My first thought is, you have no village, you have no community that you feel responsible for. And that is a sad thing. Because we are not only responsible for ourselves. In fact, the idea that you are only responsible for yourself and nobody else is a very liberal leftist concept that we don't owe each other anybody. We don't owe each other anything. Very leftist, empty, hedonistic, atheist concept. The fact of the matter is we do owe each other something. I'm not saying that you owe complete strangers your time and your effort and your money. No, we're not talking about Bernie Sanders socialism where you got to donate half of your paycheck to the government because we care about everybody else. No, because our ancestors were in high trust villages and communities. These are the people that we owe something to, people that we share values with, that we share family with, we share bloodline with, that we share even that we share an ethnicity with. So yes, the thing about having kids is that it many times, most of the time, it will offer you a duty and a responsibility that you didn't have before when you were single and childless. And once you have children, it will often not always, but many times it will cure you of this sick thought that you don't have a responsibility to anybody else. Because when you have kids, you realize that you want to make the world a much better place so that you leave a better world to your children and you leave a better legacy behind and you leave something better for your grandchildren. That is one of the beautiful things about having kids. And that's why I say a lot of times having kids makes you a better person, because it does make you think about the world in a much different way. It makes you think about the world differently than this woman does. Oh, I'm just going to go drinking beer Olympics and bottomless mimosas and a lavender Starbucks. Like once you have kids, you are much more likely to stop this materialistic, consumerist, selfish way of thinking, because there is somebody, this child, these children that you love more than anything else in the world, and you want to leave a better society for them. But you can still have these feelings that you want to leave something better behind after you're gone, even if you don't have kids. And this is one of the biggest downsides of the decline of the religious community, of the church in the United States. When you have the decline of the church and the decline of strong religious communities, you have far fewer people that are interested in bettering the world and that are interested in being responsible for one another. And I know the modern millennial, they do not like to hear that we are responsible for each other. But the fact of the matter is we are responsible for one another, the people who are close to us. And I think that we should honor that more, and we should maybe accept that more. And then we would see fewer single childless people who are just wasting their life away. Like it's actually sad when I see these things, because I look at her and I'm like, it's not even that I think that your life would automatically become better if you had kids, but that life just sounds so horrible and boring. And I looked at her TikTok, it's pretty much all she does. You know, I was like, oh, maybe it's just a one-off thing. Maybe she's just having like a lazy weekend. No, it's pretty much like how she thinks about life in general. And I think the sad thing here, again, is that people feel a total lack of responsibility and a lack of duty to one another. But our ancestors did not live like this. Our ancestors lived in high trust communities and villages where we were responsible for one another. We were responsible for the elderly, for the young. People helped with each other's kids. People helped each other during times of sickness, during times of poverty. And we have totally lost that today. And I think it's sad. So what kind of message do we want to send to young women today? Because I think that I know Gen Z, it's easy to write off Gen Z and be like, well, you guys are just screwed. But I think that Gen Z has a lot of potential. I think that they have a lot of potential to see what millennials are doing to themselves. And I think they can ask themselves more productive questions like, how can we do better than the millennials did before us? And, you know, I'm always asking the question on my show, how do we create healthy, whole women for healthy, whole families and thriving societies? And one of the ways we can do that is to encourage young women to get involved in their communities from a young age. Like at our parish, I see these teenage girls that are just so beautiful and smart and sweet and caring, and they're involved in what's going on in the church, and they're involved in volunteering and being part of the choir, and they're just wonderful girls. And that's largely because of the parenting at home and because of the strong community that they have. And I think that we have to encourage girls from a young age to be involved and to learn what it means to be selfless sometimes, to contribute your time and your effort to a cause or to loved ones who need your help. And then even if you don't find the right guy, you don't get married at a certain point in your life, you will still be a very high functioning, useful citizen to the world. Because like I said, it's not about having kids versus not having kids. It's about whether you have a meaning and a purpose in life. And we need to teach young girls from their teenage years that you can have that regardless of what your marital status is. I mean, they should still, of course, get married and have kids. But before they do, there is a lot of work to be done and a lot of giving to be done to your community and to your loved ones. So that's it. Go do something nice for somebody else today. I need to eat now. The baby really wants to eat. Okay, I'm going, guys. Bye. Have a good one.